The miles take their toll on RAAM riders as injuries and setbacks add up. Race officials are on the job when it comes to rider safety. A sentimental favorite, Fuzzy's friends cross the finish line and honor a RAAM legend. Today on the RAAM Report. Hello and thank you for joining us. My name is Leah Garcia and I'll be your host for the Daily Recap Show. Dig deep. That's really what it takes at this point in RAAM. Yesterday, when we looked at attrition, we saw that there were 15 DNFs according to RideFarther.com's leaderboard. Today, we're up to 18. There's 16 solos and 2 teams that have already dropped out, including one of the 5 remaining female riders, Susanna Pillinger. So, how do you know how your body's going to handle everything at this point in the race? Well, there really are a lot of ups and downs. Our Media 3 correspondent, Julia Marshall, shows us why.
I'm sure you've realized by now that the race across America is a journey of epic proportions. I'd like to take you inside the dynamic of one team in particular this evening, the Friends Foundation. They're an 8-man team from the local cycling community in Annapolis, Maryland.
Friends Foundation is a local charity in Annapolis that raises money for local charities, Boys and Girls Club, Wounded Warriors, and Healthy Heart Foundation. So great charities, good cause.
One of their teammates, Dan Sundis, had an accident.
All right, Leo.
Rider Barnaby Starr escorted Dan to the hospital and waited there until his wife arrived.
It's just great to be back and contributing. I felt really bad. I really was kind of caught in a catch-22 situation. Do I go off with this guy who's gotten hit in the head and won't know where he is? Could he wake up alone in the hospital? That didn't seem right. But then I'm also leaving the team that's 2 down. So they went from 8 to 6. So I just had to get back.
The team was happy to hear that Dan was released from the ICU earlier today. While an event as extreme as RAAM is bound to have some injuries, it's also filled with awe-inspiring beauty.
Climbing a mountain in Utah, 4 in the morning, light starting to come up, and out in the woods or in a plane, I couldn't tell because it was pitch black. I hear Native Americans, drumming and chanting. I didn't know where it was coming from. It was a little spooky because you're out there all by yourself, but it was really cool.
And incredibly uplifting moments.
One of my high points actually was last night. I was actually hurting pretty bad. I went to sleep in the RV and woke up, and it was like a desert mirage. We woke up in the parking lot of Revolution Cycles, and there was a swimming pool and ice cream and food and friendly people, and it was like midnight, and it was like, this is exactly what I needed.
You never know what you'll see during the race across America. I've found downtime can be just as interesting as the race itself. I ran into my good friends from Team Czech Republic 1, prepping to head into the Appalachian Mountains by having their muscles stimulated electronically.
When the hill start biggest climbing, I start there, and we start. I have 44 minutes.
Uphill yourself?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy. I also stumbled upon solo cyclist Valerio Zamboni of Monaco as he slept.
Valerio is sleeping only 5 minutes because it's too hot during the day and he prefers to sleep more time but short sleep. In 5 minutes I wake up and we go.
Just like clockwork, he's up and ready to go. The high today was over 90 degrees with 45% humidity, which can be very dangerous.
We have one guy who got dehydrated, so we had to send him to the hospital yesterday.
About 3 p.m. at Jefferson, Missouri.
Yep, and he was there most of the day, and they're giving him IVs, gave him 3 bags of IV, and he's back in the RV now. He should be back on the road this afternoon, we hope. And we're still hoping to finish within 7 days.
We're headed east and we've got 3 days and 4 states still to go. Reporting for Race Across America, I'm Julia Marshall.
It really is hard to predict how your body will transition from one point to the other of the race, but it can be a life-changing experience. But we transition now to the job that the officials have with covering this 3,000-mile race. For more on that, our Media 2 correspondent, Zach Badorf, shows us a behind-the-scenes look at what the officials have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
As the racers get closer and closer to Annapolis, they've likely seen some race officials along the route. Their primary concern is safety.
I have been in love with bike racing since I was in junior high. and obviously I'm not a cyclist, so I was looking for ways that I could be involved with the sport. Toledo's not really a bike hub, so I have to go out and find ways to bring the cycling to my life. Being an official kind of gives me a different side of things. I focus on the safety of the riders, and so as a regional official, I go back and forth between all my different stations. I have 4 time stations I'm responsible for, and I just make sure that the riders are safe, that their crews are safe, they're not breaking any rules, which also deals with safety. And then I just kind of try to also cheer them up, because I mean, there's some of these guys that don't see anybody other than, you know, their own support for hours.
It's kind of nice because it makes you feel like you're not alone out here. Sometimes, you know, you're alone for a long time, but knowing that those officials are there and you kind of cross paths or see their vehicles, makes me feel a little more protected. I'll
text something like last night when we had the storm blow through, I text their headquarters, hey, there's a real bad storm at time station 41, and then they would text everybody. I think they have a mass list that they just text.
Jamie's been great. She keeps us informed of stuff that we wouldn't have known about RAAM. Some of the official things and what the teams are doing and stuff like that. It gives us better insight than we could get just from the website or from the riders coming through themselves.
It's not a super glamorous job. Like, people want to think it is. I love it, and compared to what the riders are going through, I'm not even going to begin to complain. But you know, if you're interested in being a volunteer, great. But you're going to be sleeping in your car. You might not get to shower for a couple of days. You know, these are things that you don't think about.
Jamie jokes that when racers see her coming down the road, they tense up like people who have just seen police officers. But she's not out to get anybody in trouble.
They have to follow all the, you know, standard traffic rules. So you have to stop at the stop sign, you have to stop at the stoplight, don't cut through the parking lot to try to avoid those. So there's those types of things. And then if it's a team, are they relaying, you know, switching riders correctly, making sure they stay on course. Sometimes you get riders who get lost, and so you have to redirect them. Make sure the course itself is safe.
Okay, we'll come down.
You know, I've heard there's been a lot of animal incidents on this one, like dogs have gotten loose. I usually just stay back a little ways, make sure that they're okay. And then I try not to linger because it kind of freaks them out, honestly. In 3 years, well, I haven't had a problem with them. They always are smiling and waving, and you know, they're happy to see me. And even if I stop them, they know it's for their own safety.
They're out on the roads here with traffic. Some big races, they stop the traffic and it's just the bikes. They're on here with the traffic. And they have to make sure that they're safe and that, you know, people realize what they're doing and keep out of their way, you know, make sure that there's no wrecks.
Some forewarning, you know, usually comes first unless it's something super severe. And then it's usually a time penalty of like 15, 20 minutes or something along that line.
It's necessary, 3,000 miles of racing to keep everybody safe. You got to have rules, and the officials are there to enforce them to make sure that, you know, people aren't doing silly things like walking out on the road or riding their bike backwards or something like that.
They always knew your name, you know, so when you're getting beat down by the wind in Kansas, they kind of give you words of encouragement. Tell you to keep it up.
You know, I'll stand on the side of the road and I have my cowbell that I'll ring real loud for them and stuff like that. I just love RAAM, and I love being a part of it.
As a regional race official, Jamie doesn't go all the way to Annapolis with the riders. She doesn't go farther than Ohio, but she says she's happy to play this vital role of ensuring people's safety and making sure they play by the rules. For Race Across America, I'm Zach Badorf.
Thanks, Zach. As we bring you this broadcast, riders are starting to cross the finish line, and they're coming at a pretty fast pace. Let's look at the leaderboard. Mark Pattinson has become the second solo male to complete the journey, and Nico Valcelsia is slotted for third. In the 50 to 59 solo male category, Hansi Neifeller will have secured his finish, and Dale Capwell is riding tough in second place at the moment, followed by Joe Barr, who jumped into third place position. With that DNF in the women's solo field by Susanna Pillinger, Jana Schufeld may be the woman to beat with the final 500 miles of the race to go. Joan Dykman holds on to second for now, and the 49-year-old teacher, Angela Perrin from Italy, has moved into third. Teams, we told you they'd be fast. The four-person Legends of the Road have been averaging 23.07 miles per hour, with a slim advantage of Team Innovation Africa, averaging 23.03 miles per hour. Every transition counts from this point forward. Contrast those speeds with the first place team in the 8-person open division, and intrepid fallen heroes are hovering around 21.86 miles per hour, followed by Team Exceed by Viasat, riding with a pace of 21.19 miles per hour. The first team to cross the finish line in Annapolis, Maryland was Fuzzy's Friends, and my, they are ones to admire. It's a 75-year-old mixed team that crossed the finish line with an impressive speed. Our Media One correspondent, Jen Salazar, had a chance to visit with them.
Jen Salazar here, and I'm in Annapolis, Maryland. This is my second day at the Race Across America finish line. Yesterday, Christoph Strasser came in, breaking his own record at 7 days, 15 hours, and 56 minutes. Now, don't think that Strasser's the only one breaking records in this year's race. As a matter of fact, there were some new kids in town who rolled across the finish line. The 4-person cyclist team and crew, who affectionately call themselves Fuzzy's Friends, had a very exciting yet emotional finish.
We now have 7 RAAM age records.
Hi.
3 generations.
He's my dad and I'm her dad.
Very nice honor to be 3 generations in RAAM, and I guess this sort of satisfies Christopher's goal in life to always set records. Chris, being 82, is the oldest person to ever ride RAAM.
We wouldn't be together as this group doing this event if it wasn't for Fuzzy.
Fuzzy, who rode or was crew chief for 26 RAAMs.
Well, last summer he'd gotten cancer, but he was able to do RAAM in a sense. He got to the start of RAAM and he helped Patrick Seeley's crew through the preliminary matters.
All these other yellow shirts make our team, and I want to thank you all for this successful journey. And Lee's here to thank you too, because you made it and we're all friends at the end.
I believe he was the patron saint of cyclists. He'd give 100% to RAAM.
I would not be here if it wasn't for Fuzzy. Fuzzy paid my way because I couldn't pay it. He paid my way.
When he was very, very ill with esophageal cancer, he made it very clear that he was going to cover the portion that Chris would have to have paid.
We had a wonderful life together. I miss him a lot. But, you know, he's going to be around for a long time.
We wanted to have the whole crew on Wolf Creek when we spread Fuzzy's ashes, but we had a small ceremony so that he can be part of this forever.
You know, Lee took so much pride in this van. He probably washed and waxed it every week. It had a daily bath card. You know, they take it to the spa. It really did. It still glows to this day.
Lee left a legacy for the entire sport.
Congratulations to Fuzzy's Friends, and thank you very much to Lee Mitchell, who touched everybody's life and was such a great contribution to Race Across America. I'm Jen Salazar, and I'll have more stories from the road and the finish line as the Race Across America continues.
In life, we should all aspire to have the characteristics and generosity of Fuzzy. Thank you for that story, Jen. That was perfect. Well, if you're not already doing so already, please follow us on social media. The best way is here. On Facebook at Race Across America, on Twitter at RAAM Races and hashtag RAAM 2014, at ridefarther.com website, and track Talus to find the GPS coordinates and the current standings. The excitement of the final days of RAAM is super addictive. Thanks for joining us today, and just know that tomorrow we're going to have more riders across the finish line. My name's Leah Garcia for the Daily Recap Show, and until we see you then, keep the wheels turning.